All right, Mr. Morris, this week in auto history.
Yes, sir. Found lots of things that I think are real interesting. And I wanted to note that since we started doing this, we started out, oh, this happened, but it's starting to come together to where things build on top of each other. So, for example, in 1896, Charles and Frank Duryea sold the first Duryea motor wagon. Now, this is the first recognized sale of an American gasoline-powered automobile, which literally singly started to launch the U.S. auto industry. Now, going into that, another step that happened in 1909, Cadillac came up with interchangeable parts. Now, they demonstrated this because they went to England and they won a competition over there and showed that interchangeable automotive parts with precision manufacturing could work on a larger scale. So that's how they kind of started moving the industry towards the mass production. Then, and you look at it in 1913, is when Henry Ford perfects the moving assembly line. Now, these things kind of tie in together because of the way the parts are, so that Henry Ford gets these ideas and starts by the innovation, which actually cut the Model T build time from over 12 hours to about 90 minutes. Cut cost.
That's huge.
Wages rose. Big. And so car ownership exploded from that because people could readily get to them. Then in 1949 is whenever General Motors expanded the availability of the Hydromatic automatic transmission. Put it out across multiple brands, including Oldsmobile, Cadillac, and it quickly got people accelerating away from the manual gearboxes because it was just considered easier, it was nicer, and it was just a luxury feel to this. And then in 1953, power steering reached the mass markets when Chevrolet expanded theirs beyond, it was just their luxury models. So they started putting it on other vehicles, which got it down into the mainstream. Then in 1964, the Chevrolet Impala was tops in U.S. sales.
Oh, yeah.
And, hot rodders for years have been looking at the 64 Impala and several years around there. But because of its size and comfort, it just really hit with the American people, and then it became a hot rod.
Well, hot rods and lowriders.
Yeah, yeah. In 1972, of course, you got to have a few hiccups as you go along in this development process. The Chevrolet responded to growing criticism of the Vega engine durability, and actually it's whenever they started looking at it and started taking it out. And it was the troubles from the Vega that actually caused it to be dropped across the industry. 1986, Audi brings all-wheel drive sedans to America, and I did not realize that was what happened when they brought their all-wheel drives across. Because of the rally racing they were doing in other parts of the world, it really came across and brought in the traction and stuff where people could use it for in mud and snow and things like that. So if you look at auto history, including coming up to 2002, when it really steps into the drive-by-wire throttle system. Now, we always, as you get up underneath the hood, you reach up there and grab the throttle cable on the carburetor and you blip the carburetor and pop the butterflies a couple of times. Lots of fun, particularly at the drag strip. You can't do that no more. It's all drive-by-wire through the throttle bodies, and it's all part of the computer mechanisms that gets us to where we're at. Of course, this is what helps with our fuel economy, and it also gives assistance to the semi-autonomous driving systems that are being developed.
And it also ends the show on a very ugly note. Depressing. We don't want to hear it. But there are still, you don't have to have those.
No, you
don't. You
don't.
can still go to the Five and Dime and buy yourself a Holley 4-barrel carburetor.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you can buy even a fuel injection that looks like a Holley carburetor.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. Very popular.
But that was some of the things we found this week in automotive history. And like I say, it started clicking how, if you look back through it, how things build on themselves.
Except EVs. Oh, sorry, I didn't say that, did I?